something good. Asleep at the Wheel last night, right?
Yes.
Was that great or what?
It was fabulous.
I'm telling you what, Kevin, you missed out, my man.
Well, I'm sorry.
10 Grammy Awards these guys have had. 54 years he's been traveling, playing music, right? 10 Grammy Awards.
Wow.
Isn't that that's impressive? Huh?
That's a lot.
That's the real deal, right? So they get all set up, and we finished our Christmas show. Our first Christmas show was yesterday, which was a little stressful because they usually require 4 to 5 hours for setup of Sleep at the Wheel. Well, we didn't finish the show till 4:20, so you had to load in all that, strike our entire stage. We hired extra hands, got all the gear in, this and this and that, but it all went smoothly. And
they had to completely disconnect our soundboard and connect their soundboard.
All the new cables, run new cables from the stage up to the booth. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And got it all.
We would be in deep trouble if we didn't have Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones, amazing. Just amazing. And then, of course, we had Grant
Moody, who's amazing.
Helped out tremendously.
Troy
Boy came in, and RP did a great job, and we had a lot of great hands. And they started getting everything all set up, and then all of a sudden about 6 o'clock, I look up, and here comes Ray walking in. I'm like, there's the man. And he just walks out and starts chit-chatting, and just one of the nicest guys I have ever met.
Yeah.
You never know with somebody that's done what he's done and been where he's been. If he, is he really still into chit-chatting with people and this, you know what I mean? Because he's 72 and he's done it all. He's done it all. And if anything, he leads the conversation and continues the conversation. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like there was a time where I'm like, okay, well, I really need to get out of here, but Ray's really talkative. But of course, I'm not leaving. I'd sit there for 3 hours.
Right.
And the stories were remarkable. So anyhow, they get set up and they sound check with the first song. They kick off Route 66, and I'm standing on stage about 5 foot from Ray, just in awe. Here's that voice that I'm. It's one of my favorite groups. It's what I listen to the most is Sleep at the Wheel, and just like, man, I can't believe they're here. Right, that's it. There they are. Right, they're right here, and. So anyhow, they get all set up and this and that, and we start talking and telling stories. And, of course, RP has tons of stories, opening up with Ray back in the 70s and the things they did and things they shouldn't have done.
Right.
They were telling a lot of good stories.
I
right?
bet.
So Ray says, he said, man, I'm so glad to be here. He said, I love Branson. He said, I kind of got ran out of here back in the 90s. And I said, yeah, I remember that in the early 90s. I said, yeah, I remember that story. But I'd love to hear your version of that story, right? He said, well, here's what happened. Willie was in town because Mel had sold his lease to Willie and because he was going to build a bigger theater, blah, blah, blah. We had a show at the Grand Palace. We were running late. So I told the bus driver, just get in that center lane and get on down to the show there so we're not late. And he said some Barney Fife Branson cop pulled us over for driving down the center lane, and we were smoking some of that wacky weed, and the cop comes up and he busted us. He said it's just a little bit of pot, just a little bit, and anyhow he escorted us down to the Grand Palace, and the general manager fired us, so we didn't even do the gig that night. He said we still got paid, but they basically said, look, we don't want that around here. You can just go ahead and get out of town. And they left.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's kind of the story. The story I heard was, hey, did you hear about the day after? Did you hear about Asleep at the Wheel getting busted with they got busted with a bus full of weed and the cops ran them out of town? He goes, well, that's about right. Anyhow,
wow.
so anyhow, it was just hilarious to hear it out of his mouth it had some. He said it wasn't a bunch; it was just a little bit. And I said, "Well, what's funny is there's like 4 pot shops in town now.
Yeah.
You can drive and you just pick it up, right?"
Yeah.
So they do the show. It was remarkable to hear the band and the musicianship of those players. The steel player, the piano players from Chicago. Ray flies him in. He flew in, did the gig. The saxophone player who also played clarinet. The upright player, the drummer, the fiddle player, the steel player. It was just to hear the versions and the dynamics. And I even told Ray after the show, I said, man, the one thing that impresses me most about that, y'all, is your dynamics. It's just bump. You know what I mean by dynamics, right? And he said, well, you can't get loud if you don't get quiet. I'm like, man, that's the best quote I've ever heard in my life. If you start loud and continue loud, there's nowhere to grow or to go, right? So so after the gig, we went back to the green room, and Ray's sitting there, and Tina comes in and the boys, and Caden pulls a chair up right now. And I look over at Caden, and he's just like, just watching everything out of Ray's mouth. And Ray just starts telling stories about, somebody said something about, my dog Reba was there. He goes, Reba goes, yeah, Reba's got a new boyfriend. She didn't give me a chance, and this and that. And he goes, Reba used to open up for us quite a bit back in the day, and something about it. He just got off the road. He been touring, opening up for George Strait the last couple of years, playing the big, 40,000 seat arenas and this and this and that. And I just see Caden going. He said, "There's a lot of new guys out there. The guitars are covered good with all these newcomers." And he said, "Zach Top." He said, "I did a gig with Zach Top a couple of weeks ago, and I looked over at Caden. I saw Caden look at Colton like, because Caden's just infatuated with Zach Top. He goes, "We did a gig with that. What's that young guy, Parker McCollum?" I said, "Yeah, he's hot." He goes, "Yeah, he's weird, but he's good." But and he started talking about those stories about Ferlin Husky and Mel Tillis and Willie and songwriting and the tunes that he's written and stuff.
Ernest Tubb.
Ernest Tubb was his hero, and he started out impersonating Ernest Tubb. That was his gig.
Oh wow!
And I can hear that.
Yeah, for sure.
And God, we sat there over an hour, and Ray just leading just talking about his dogs and his wife. Found these.
That was funny.
It was just
Shih Tzus.
Yeah. But it was really cool to hear.
It's just
stories.
nice when you can be reminded that artists can be
Normal.
just very down to earth, and he was like that. And so it was great to get to spend, because we've been looking forward to this for so long. It was just great to actually be in the moment and enjoy every minute of it. We didn't get any T-shirts, but because we were so busy. We didn't want to leave, We were like, we don't want to
I wanted to go get merch before they packed it up, but I'm like, well, I'm not just going to get up and walk out of the room with Ray's really wanting to talk,
Right.
And we really wanted to listen, so it was great getting to.
And then he started talking about, he lives in Austin. He's been there forever. He bought this. He set up a big, beautiful home and some acreage, and he said everything. He said that dang Elon Musk has come down there and built all the factories all around me. He said one of his baby mamas is my next door neighbor. He said that Elon Musk is nuts. He's crazy. This and that. He said, that guy's got 11 kids by 6 different women. I said, what?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. He goes, yeah, most people don't, but it's coming out. And he said he's built this factory here and a factory here, and he said I always know when he's in town to see the kids, because that big gate opens and I can see all these Teslas, or entourage of Teslas pulling down the long drive next door and blah, blah, blah. And he said, but the good news is he's made my property value go way. He said his property value has gone up 400% in the last few years since Elon moved all his companies down in that area.
Wow.
400%.
He
said they call that area that I live in not Millionaire Row, but Billionaire Row. And he said, I've had that place forever. And isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. He's not a big Elon Musk fan.
Didn't sound like it.
No. No, not at all.
Did not sound like it.
But he's a legend, man.
That's so cool you got to experience that. That's your favorite band, and for them to be in your theater, in your green room, just sitting there talking to you.
Oh.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Did you get him to sign the board?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And I walked in, and he was over there with RP. I said, where'd you sign? He goes, well, the highest spot I could. But, he's like,
yeah.
How tall is he?
I don't know.
6'5",
The other
6'6".
thing that always amazes me is his hands.
Oh.
Big hands.
They're that long.
Huge.
I got
and
big.
Wide.
They're
wide.
Big.
I was just looking at him last night. I was like, his hands are humongous.
And I don't know how he plays all those chords and notes on the guitar, because his fingers are like tree branches. They're just big stumps.
Right.
He's a monster. Mm-hmm. I said, Ben, I like that jacket. Is that Emmanuel? He goes, no, there's a guy down there that builds he said, this is just a white tux jacket. And then he puts all these stones on it. And he opened it up. He said, got my name in
Texas?
there.
From Texas? The guy from Texas?
Yeah,
or?
I think so. I need to find out that guy's name, because it was a cool jacket.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was so cute, though. There was a point where a little boy and came down there and started dancing on the encore. Mm-hmm. And Ray, tossed a pick at him. And it was also nice to see somebody that young. I mean, how old do you think it was? 6?
Yeah,
Maybe?
five,
Cool.
6
5 or
years
6
old.
years old.
And Ray looked over and kind
Just
of
jamming, with the music, dancing.
he was clogging and jumping up and down, wasn't he? And
was
Ray
cool.
loved it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
What a great night. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, I can't wait. I said, man, I can't wait to get you back next year. He said, well, I probably only got about 2 years to live. I said, well, we'll do a 2-year contract.